We're going to attempt to align a Jeep that's got some issues today. We're going to do a oil pan gasket on a Dodge Ram that really needs a thermostat. We're going to try to get that Hyundai Equus running good. We're even going to do an AC check on a Kia. And we got a new procedure for doing our inspections on vehicles. And we got a couple other things to show you too. Make sure you watch, stay tuned. Should have been obvious he was going to quit. He started cleaning up his toolbox. How you guys doing? Thanks for tuning in. I'm so glad you're here. We're going to make it work today. I got feeling in my bones. My old brittle bones. I'm Jimmy. If you're new, you're wondering, what's this video about? Well, I'm going to take you to work with me. We're going to spend a day in the shop fixing European exotics, classics, high mileage, domestics, monster trucks, whatever comes in, Jimmy will do it. Intermittent can problems, 69 Mustangs. Got my own project truck. I kind of encourage him with that stuff. So we'll see what we can do today. I think we'll have some fun. I know we'll learn a thing or two, and I hope I make it worth your while watching. We're gonna finish getting the shop open up. We're gonna get started. Real foggy this morning. Hope the weather's nice by you. It's about 70 degrees right now. We're probably headed at 90 or so, 88, 90, which is warm, but for a Floridian, it doesn't really feel hot to me until it's about 93, 94, 95 and up. That's when I start to go, it's hot. That's when I need to bring out my biggest fans. Not you guys, the ones that blow air at me. Let's finish getting this place open up, stop flapping, and get to work. Stay tuned. Ooh, look at that. 2019 Jeep at 79,000 miles. Into wheel alignment, induction service, free tire rotation, and a free safety inspection. It's not really a safety inspection. It's a vehicle inspection. I don't know how they arrived at the induction service and alignment, but it needs tires. They're definitely, the back's not quite as bad as the front, but... And we're going to start taking pictures of the tires and stuff too, just to make sure we don't miss something, I guess. I do what I have to do to make it work. So I'm starting my inspection. I'm going to do the alignment on this rack, and then I'm going to put it over to my rack for the induction service and the tire rotation stuff. Alright, tires. We got these nifty gauges. I have like 2 or 3 different versions of these. I have digital ones. Over the years, you get them at all the tire stores and stuff. So they want us to use these to get an accurate measurement instead of eyeballing it. So let's see what we come up with. It's printed on here. It's kind of hard to see, but this tire is the worst of all of them, I'm thinking. It's probably going to be somewhere like this red one. So you got to figure out which one fits the tread. That's the one I guessed. That's about the one it is. There's a lot of mud and stuff because we got to drive through a muddy road whenever you park in the back. But that's all right. That is a 3mm .118. So we got to write that down in the report. Go to the next tire. 4mm. 4mm on the right rear. This is about the best tire of the bunch. I think this is between 4 and 5. Let's see here. I'll try 5mm first because that's what I think it is. These are kind of tight. Don't worry, they'll wear in with some use. Yeah, that's 5mm. It's not really hard to figure out, but it is what it is. I'm gonna have these wheels off to check these really accurately, but the 5mm won't fit in the brake pad, so it's 4mm on the front left. One thing I wonder is why there's 3 green ones. Shouldn't anything above that just be considered green? All right. We got the vehicle in. It's not a 2019 like it says on the paperwork. It's a 2021. What we're going to do is these Dodge and Jeep products with the electronically shifted transmissions, you can't leave it neutral and roll it. So like I do on a lot of vehicles nowadays, I just drive them forward because so many of them are like that now. Some of the European cars, which is basically what a Jeep is nowadays. So the heads are all on there. Let's drive it forward. Compensate the heads. All this does is make up for any tolerances where if the head moves or if it has a slightly bent hub or wheel, the machine compensates for it. That's why they call it a compensation, right? Makes sense. This is a nice vehicle, by the way. I mean, you'd never know you were sitting in a Jeep what we used to call a Jeep back in the day, was a hardcore off-road military style base vehicle with manual steering, a manual transmission. Now it's a dual climate control, self-driving, two-tone leather vehicle. All right, caster left, caster right. So this thing definitely needs tires more than anything. Look how red that alignment is, poor thing. Key fob battery's low too. I'll have to put that on the inspection. The inspection took, I did it to the letter, looking under the hood and all that stuff. It was 25 minutes. So if anybody's interested, that's about what it takes to do them right. 15 to 30 minutes depending on the vehicle. Because some cars, to get to the air filter is 10 minutes, you know. They're not, it's not real, a couple of clips on most cars nowadays. But it is on our list. We have to check it. If you're wrong about it, that's not good. So got to be accurate. Man, she is a troublemaker. We're gonna get back here. You always want to do camber and caster first and toe last, and you always want to do the back first and the front last. So we'll do camber, toe, then we'll see if we can adjust the front camber and do the front toe. The caster I already know is not adjustable. Let's see what the camber. Front camber does an eccentric. You have to, front camber requires service kit containing camber correction eccentric bolts. So you have to put special bolts in to do the front. So we'll start in the back and see what we get after that. I got all the proper tools that should do it. Not a 19. Not a 21. These jackasses go to a 20 on this. $20mm. Jeep. We've fallen so far. Luckily, good wrench sets come with a 20. This long arm is camber, and the short one up here is way in the front is toe. So if I turn this eccentric up, it'll move the bolt further out, make it worse. If I turn it this way, it'll bring the bolt further in and bring the bottom of the wheel on. That's what I want to do. That's as much adjustment as you get. That's right on the edge of being green. But it's not quite there yet. We're going to do the toe and see if that has an effect on the camber as well. Huh. Well, this one's different size nuts and bolts and stuff. This one you got to turn that eccentric, which I don't think I have. Looks like probably a 22 or 24. Back to the toolbox. Luckily it's not that far away. 15/16, and we're towed in just about as much as we can. That's not good. Let's see. Maybe we can just get a little bit more of a bump to it. I think it's doing it right there. Going the other way. That's as good as you can get it. That's kind of a shame. It's got to go to 0.02, so we're like a tenth of a degree towed out, but the adjustment's maxed out. You would need to go further in to bring the front of the tire further in, and it's maxed out. So something might be bent slightly. That arm's bent, but it's supposed to be. I believe that's how they're designed. Yeah, they're designed with a bend in them. This might have to go to like a frame shop or body shop to get perfect. Figure out what's tweaked. I don't know if it was in an accident or something. But I did see that someone has already been trying to align it. So, and the wear doesn't look too crazy bad, which is the most important reason for an alignment. Tire wear and having your wheel straight. Same thing on this side. And this looks to be maxed out too. So, I'm not sure if you'll see it from there. I'll try to crop it in, but It'll start going minus 1.9 and get worse. It got worse. So that's maxed out. 1.8 is the best we can get. So now we'll lock it down there. And we'll mess with the toe if we can. I'm assuming that's probably maxed out too. This car might need to be raised up a little bit. I hope it's not an alignment mode. If there is, I'm going to have to find that and redo all of it. No worries, it pays an hour. We'll be good. Modern cars, very few of them. 1 hour alignment covers it. But that's a bridge to cross another time. It's maxed out. Try to at least get it back to where it was. I'm going to try jacking it up a little bit, see how that does. It makes it better if you raise it up. I'm going to cut those nails. It definitely makes it better, like half a degree on the camber. The toe just barely changes, but it does make it a little better raising it up. Let me go see if there's a service mode, alignment mode for this thing that changes the specs. When you look in illustrated adjustments, it says for air suspension equipped vehicles, when checking or adjusting wheel alignment, the air suspension must be set to wheel alignment mode. The preferred method of setting the system to wheel alignment mode is through the diagnostic scan tool. Wheel alignment mode in the radio menu can also be used if the diagnostic scan tool is not available. Now this might seem like a lot of work for an hour, but stop complaining. That's all I'm going to say. Hook up the DS300. See what we can do to get this thing in alignment mode. Did I say love rating of 8 in this thing? I'm not sure if I mentioned that earlier, but it's a nice car. I like it. Oil pressure low. That's because the engine's not running, dummy. Fiat. It'll be in special functions, and then we'll go from there. Now this might do Jeep stuff where it won't let me in here. It'll only allow me to do OBD2. I'm not sure if my scan tool has this. Software version is too low. Upgrade. Okay. The gateway module. Yep. Skip. Yep. We're going to see if it'll let me do it if I just keep lying to it and see what happens. Worst case scenario, they'll have to pay for a subscription to get my scan tool on with Jeep and Chrysler, because we talked about that enough times that I'm resistant to it just because I don't think it's right. It's the Jeep way, I guess. System selection. A lot of manufacturers are doing the same kind of nonsense now too, because they're waiting to see how it works out for Jeep, and if they make a lot of money doing it, then they'll all start charging mechanics to work on your car. So it's not enough that you spend $75,000 for their product. If you buy a nice vehicle like this, they're expensive. And then when you go get it worked on, they're going to charge a shop $50 to work on your car. So that shop has to pass that expense on to you. So that's your reward for buying one. So one of the things you ask people when you buy a vehicle is, does my mechanic have to pay a subscription to work on this kind of car? They might lie to you though, because that's another thing that happens. Oh, what a world, man. Air suspension control module. It might not let me in. I'm gonna try it though. Doing a lot of flapping while I wait. I apologize for those who don't want to hear it. Special function. Actuation test. Fault message raising on level not permitted. Standard vehicle level, off-road level, compressor running. Alright, I'm gonna hunt and peck, see if I can find it, and we'll come back. Alright, I tried going all the way out on the scan tool and picking special functions from the primary screen, and it's been sitting here now like this for about 2 or 3 minutes. So I went into the dash panel, and sorry about the glare, and I went back through the settings, went into vehicle, suspension, and you can see auxiliary mode, off, transport, wheel alignment. So I should be able to just hit that, and now it's raising the vehicle, and we can watch the screen. See the vehicle raising up. It's probably hard to see. Bunk. It has raised tons of stuff. Normal ride height achieved. Can I shut the key off is what I'm wondering. I think we'll be alright. Let's go out there and take a look. and leave the key on just in case. And let's see how long the scan tool contemplates its existence. Alright, it helped immensely with the camber. We already know our toe is maxed out in the back, and it made it toe in a lot in the front. So that's kind of weird. Now I'm going to set that front toe. That's all I can really adjust at this point. Bar graphs. I wonder what the rear looks like here. How far out is it? Pretty far out in that right rear. That's the big concern. This isn't too terrible, but this is pretty far out. So we're going to have to check up front and see what we're going to do with that. I'll go ahead and set the front toe in case we're done at this point. We got to go out. There we go. That's one. Now I got to do one more. I think that's as good as this alignment's going to get. Take the wheel lock off. Now some cars you just turn it off, turn the ignition off, and it'll take it out of alignment mode. And some it won't, but it's easy, just go dunk off. And now it will adjust it back down. Turn the key off. And we'll let this thing settle and we'll see where the alignment ends up. It may just stay where it's at till you drive it too. They all have their own way of doing things. That's why it's almost 9:30. I got almost an hour and a half to do the alignment and inspection. So I'm gonna move it over to my lift. It's easier to rotate tires on my lift. This thing is still freaking out, but that's all right. Now we can do an induction service. I don't know what this is. It's something new. Fuel system decarbonizer. That must go in the engine. This goes in the gas tank. And this is for the throttle body, as they say up on Long Island. Since this has a capless tank system, keep my funnel right here from the last one. The other kits used to come with this, but these newer ones don't. So we're going to open this up. Break the seal. Get my little induction container that's hanging on my cart. Got to find a vacuum source, get it in the intake manifold, bring the engine idle speed between 1500 and 2000 until it runs out. Takes about 20 minutes or so. A pretty decent amount of time to do it, and the longer it takes actually, the better it works. Oh, that's it. Gotta find a vacuum port. Hopefully there's one under here. I spun this one out and I figured they were trapped in the cover somehow. I spun the other one out and then I lifted it up and that one didn't do what this one did. So we're gonna figure it out. But that fitting has to be tighter than the bolt. I always use the right tool for the job. Need some needle nose. I think the it's getting messy. I'm gonna have to straighten that out. Purge valve feed looks like a good source for some vacuum. I think it depends on how hard it is to get off. Hopefully it doesn't snap and then we need to get a plenum. Not that that's ever happened before, but it is possible. So since I got my rubber piece on here, that's going to help immensely. Should be good. It's got a little seam in the middle, so you can take it apart and fit it in your toolbox. This is what we're going to use to bump the throttle up. It gives you a pretty fine adjustment once you get it close with this, and you make fine adjustments for that. Uh-oh. This is one of those. Some of these vehicles with the electronic throttles, they don't want you to do this. So they'll raise the idle and lower the idle, and they're trying to figure out why you're hitting the gas and not in gear and stuff. So it'll be a little erratic, so you really got to babysit some vehicles, and this seems like it's probably going to be one of them. Try to never walk away if you're doing this kind of thing and you're just starting out. Try to not walk away for more than half a minute, because sometimes this thing will just whoop, start going. Normally they're not going to be able to hurt itself, but I don't like taking a chance. Why risk it? We're going to let this run. If you see my other videos, when I'm doing one of these services, I used to have one with an adjustable valve, and that one you had to be real careful you didn't go too fast, because you get in a rush and you want to speed it up. It does a little bit of a disservice to the customer. It makes the cat get real hot. This won't hurt the cat. Some people think it does, but if you do it at the right rate, it doesn't heat the cat up. It'll actually help clean the cat to some degree. You just gotta be patient and let it run its course. This fixed orifice one, you can't tamper with it. It goes at its rate, and it's so slow you can barely see the fluid moving. But about every 5 minutes you'll notice it went down 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch. Once it's done, we might have to clear a code if it sees the purge valve not connected, which I doubt it's going to in part. Sometimes it'll set a misfire code or something like that. So we'll see. We'll come back in a few minutes when it's close to being done. You got a little schmutz on you. Let me get that off your lip. That's a little better. Professional operation. I'm intentionally not cranking those down, so that won't happen again. This one's done. I'm going to take it on a road test. Look at the AC on that Kia next. I've been doing the inspection while this percolated. I got to see why the AC is warm.
Rotate tires for free.
Yeah, we're just going to put the machine on this thing. See, it's got a refrigerant. I think they're here on vacation. It's got a parking thing on the dash. So you live in an apartment or they're on vacation. Of course, there was refrigerant left in the machine, so whatever was in there will go in the car. So you can't really be sure if it has refrigerant, but it wouldn't be that high based on what was left in the hoses. So it's probably got good. Real-time clock failure. Contact customer service. Let's start it up and see what happens with the pressures. Looks like it's got refrigerant. Got the world's loudest safeties. I'll shut that window. Put the AC on. 104,000 miles on this Kia Sorento. Pretty clean. Probably a 6. What do you think? Let's see what the pressures are doing. I didn't hear any change or click when I turned the AC on. That would be why. Nothing happened. So now we got to go into fuses and relays and see if it's trying to get the compressor to turn on. If I don't find a blown fuse or a tap on a relay and have it turn on, we'll have to get the scanner. Let me get a test light. We'll poke around here at the AC. Sometimes you can just, like on a Honda especially, but this is similar. You can find air column. Second one down on the left. And I can even get my jumper relay and jump that and see if the compressor turns on. If I jump it and it doesn't turn on, it's either a bad compressor or a broken wire. Those are the only two things left, right? If I jump it and it does turn on, then I can look to see why something is not telling the relay to turn on. You guys know I like showing you my tricks too, right? Sometimes you can just put the relay in and out. I feel it clicking. I don't know if you can hear that. I'll put you real close. You hear it? I can feel it clicking and hear it clicking, but nothing's happening down at the compressorial device. And this is in charge of making pressure. So now what we can do is get a pry bar very carefully. I don't recommend doing this kind of thing if you're not a little mechanically inclined and coordinated well. And I always use the back of the pry bar. You don't ever want to hit it with the hook, because if it does turn on, it can turn it. That's not right.
A water heater?
The water heater itself is $500 to $700, and it takes about 2 hours to put it in, if that. Ghostbusters. It's not turning on. Yeah, Bill's got a bad heater in his house. That's $4,500. Jeez. I can see what looks like metal down there. I'm thinking this thing might have a locked up compressor. I'm gonna get my jumper relay just in case that's a defective relay and it clicks and doesn't send out power. And I'm gonna force power out. And if it still doesn't turn on, it needs a compressor. This little kit, IPA 9038A, handy for 95% of vehicles. Just gotta find the right relay. Now this also helps you realize these are the function tabs, which there'll be 12 volts in, and when it gets activated, 12 volts out. And there'll be a power and ground, which is what these two are, that close the relay or make the coils magnetic so it closes it. Contacts can go bad inside the relay, all kinds of things. If I put this in and push on, the compressor should do something. If not, it's going to be in big trouble, mister. On, nothing. So it's got a bad compressor. The chances of it having a broken wire or something was so slim that I'm not automatically going down that rabbit hole. It's a waste of everybody's time and money. So it's got a bad compressor, and we're going to see what happens with this one. Also, it needs some tires and things like that. So we'll see what happens with this car from here. I was talking with the guys about the brake pad and tire tread depth tools, and I said 6mm shouldn't be yellow if you're using this on tires, and they said this is only for brake pads. I said, well, it's 6mm is 6mm either way. That's when it turns yellow on the tire tool too. Yeah. About 5.5mm. Look at this gem. Nice. Someone changed the oil on it a couple weeks ago and said your oil pan gasket's leaking. So we're gonna do an oil pan gasket. And he said on the way here it overheated, so we're gonna look at that. That's what the oil pan gasket looks like. So I'm gonna see about the overheating problem. Maybe it's running out of coolant or the fan's not working. Uh-oh. That's half a gallon. It's probably got a leak somewheres. Almost a gallon I've added now. Just when I was about ready to go get the pressure tester, there's no need to. The thermostat leaks. Kind of strange. The coolant's way overdue for a flush. You can tell by the smell and by the appearance of rust. The problem is people don't realize that if you overdo your coolant, after an oil change, the coolant's second, because the oil change, the oil breaks down and it doesn't have as much lubricity and the engine will wear faster. Coolant becomes acidic. The heat cycles change the chemical properties of coolant and make it acidic, and it causes corrosion. When you smell that smell and see that rust, the corrosion's already started. It's too late. You could probably save it by doing a flush, but you would drain it, fill it with water and add some cleaning materials, run the engine, circulate the cleaner and the fresh water, then drain it again. It's a little bit of a process. It's a flush basically, but it's more like a drain and flush, I guess, instead of a power machine that would force things through. To use the power machine properly, you have to remove the thermostat first, put it all back together, do the flush without a thermostat even in it. But places that have the machines and some of the machines can force the thermostat open with air pressure, go backwards. But in any event, we know what's leaking now. I got to go up there and let them know what I found leaking as far as coolant, and then we'll see what happens with the oil pan gasket. I doubt they're going to not do it, but we'll see. What did I tell you guys? The 2015 got 125,000 miles on it. It looks real nice outside, not quite as nice inside. The armrest is giving up the ghost and stuff. 125K, but I'm still going to give it a 6. Not bad. Got little small issues here and there, but just wear and tear. Let's see what they want to do up front, and we'll get back on this momentarily. Waiting to hear on that Kia still too. So So I don't see anything wrong with this oil pan gasket. So we'll probably have them send that back. And we'll fix the coolant leaks and the overheating problem. So look at that. Top of the line. Let's go ahead and work on that Dodge Ram, get something fixed today. What do you say? Yeah, it's right there. Shouldn't be too big of a thing. The Kia with the air conditioning, they tucked tail and left. I don't blame them, they got scurred. Well, I got approval on that Hyundai from yesterday too that we got running. He wants to find out for sure what the misfire is. So my next thing is to pull the spark plug out, get a look at that. We'll figure something out looking at that spark plug after we get this one done. $13mm on the thermostat housing. Got a whole new housing and everything. So this thing, when we're done, brand new. Uh-oh, other way. I know. I heard you telling me too. Check the direction, Jimmy. It's been a while since you used that ratchet. You don't really need this big old ratchet for weird electrical concerns and Volkswagen lock cylinders and stuff. 69 Mustangs that leak gas. And I said leak gas, by the way. For those of you that are wondering, I see it down there, don't worry. It's laying on the frame, waiting for me to grab it. I'm gonna get this gasket to peel off of here. Make sure that's all cleaned up good. We'll start going back together. I'm gonna drain and fill the coolant too. So hey, you can see how that looks like straight water because I ran the garden hose through the radiator and that opening, try to flush out some of that old coolant. Also ran water through here into the radiator. Now I got to pull that. That's basically straight water. I got to pull it out of there. We got some coolant in there. Clean that thermostat area and put it back together. Fresh coolant. This thing will be good to go. Getting a little angry. Don't worry, it's gonna be okay. Pull some coolant out of that block too. Well, it's mostly water now. Make sure there's no more gasket rubber down in material down in there or corrosion or anything like that. That would stop it from sitting nice and flat. Now we got to put that little check valve at the top like this. The paper gasket, I don't know why this doesn't get one. If you put the paper gasket in there, it's more likely to leak because it won't compress the rubber as much. So you gotta be careful. I don't know why I always find it funny when people set their alarms and there's cars out here all over the place with the keys in the ignition. But I guess everyone does things different. So I wouldn't leave my keys in the ignition or set the alarm if I was gonna put that. Haha, checked it that time. I don't want to look stupid. I mean stupider. That is pretty tight. I'm going to vacuum fill this. They do have a set screw, Allen screw in here you can pull out to bleed them too. And I still might have to do that, but I'm going to vacuum fill it just to try to eliminate having to loosen that. You can see what happens. Of course, we'll run it and verify the air situation. Came off of there. Let's go, man. The neck on this thermostat housing must be slightly thicker. I don't have a hard time getting the clamp on, but I'll keep fussing with it. I'll get it on. That should work. Let's set up our vacuum fill. A couple gallons. Put 2 quarts in the overflow. It's got a dipstick. Check it. And I'll save 1 container to put the leftover back. Shouldn't take both gallons. Probably close to it. Get some shop air on here. This will vacuum the atmosphere out of the cooling system, so there's only whatever coolant's left in there and a vacuum, which is a lack of air, right? So, and when I open this valve, I got to close it to pull vacuum. When I open it up so it's in the direction of the line, it'll pull the coolant out of that bucket, fill the cooling system, and the hoses will have been collapsed. They'll all start to expand as it pulls coolant in. Fire cheap. So let's get it going. What do you say? And you'll be able to see the radiator hoses. This hose is going to collapse. Shoot for 26 inches or better on the gauge. That bucket will go down, those hoses will get bigger, the vacuum will change, and a ladder truck will go by. Oh, is that a pumper truck? You fire experts, let me know. I think it's a pumper truck. The ladder truck has a giant ladder on top. That's my guess. I'm no firefighter expert. Now there's not enough vacuum to pull coolant, so the rest of the way we'll have to fill it mechanically. Old school stuff. That's how it's going to be, huh? It's easier to pour it from the gallon container than it is from the bucket. So. We'll clean that up after. We're getting close to firing this thing up now. Check that coolant with it running. Let it warm up. Make sure we get hot air off the fan. You know the deal. Once the thermostat opens, we'll get heat inside, hot air off the fan. We know our air pocket's out of there. Should have the heat off the heater already. Auto. They got it down on 60. My goodness, that's cold, isn't it? Uh-oh, it's got ticking actuators too. Oh, I can feel it on the floor. It's not coming out to frost because I didn't tell it to. Silly. Alright, so we got warm air off the heater. Go and check the fan next. Oh yeah. Time for a road test. This one's done. Oh. Really? It's not tight. That means I'm supposed to check all of them now. It's alright, we do what we gotta do. First, we're going to take this out and take a look. Got a heck of a gap on it. That spark plug that's basically a worn out double platinum, it looks like to me. Let's pull out another plug and look at it. See if it's also loose. Probably put these back where they were since it didn't make a difference. Hey, we're filming over here. What the manners. I gotta get a wobbly extension, or I can take the airbox out. I'd rather get a wobbly extension. See if that helps. Heck yeah. Just that little bit of 1/8 inch of wobbly. It's the difference between fitting in there and not fitting in there. Let's get this ratchet in place. There you go. Ah, come on. They didn't tighten any of the spark plugs. That makes me a little bit sad, I gotta tell you the truth. Don't put spark plugs in a car if you don't plan on tightening them. Every car deserves tight spark plugs and fresh oil. That spark plug looks better. I'm gonna move the spark plugs. If the problem moves with the spark plug, I'm gonna tell him he needs a tune-up, and I can just put the one spark plug in. If we do a tune-up, then we'll definitely have fresh plugs in it, and they'll all be tight if I do it. If the AutoZone Assassin does it, probably not tight. Maybe that's what happened. He went out in the parking lot and said, "I'll help you out." His intentions were good. It was the execution where he came up short. See if that gasket was ever compressed. Nope. If it was already compressed one time, it would usually only go a quarter of a turn or so. Let's put this all back together, and then I'll run it some more and see if we get a code in cylinder 1. Then I'll know it was a spark plug. I definitely have a feeling it was ignition. If you watched yesterday's video, or is it yesterday or Friday? I forget. But it definitely feels like ignition to me, but it's still just a hunch. We got to prove it out. Alright, let's fire this thing up. Okay, now we're taking drastic measures. It's really starting to tick me off. So I unplugged that coil that they're telling me is number 2 and that it's flagging. I unplugged it while it's running, and it set a code for cylinder 3. So basically, it's flagging the wrong cylinder, and I got a problem with one of the coils or plugs. I just got to figure out which one. So that one, it's flagging as 3. So I'm going to shut it off, plug that back in, unplug a different one, see what code it sets. And the problem is, I've got this unplugged. I'll show you something really cool. This is what we deal with out in the shop. And I see way too many videos shop owners are making, talking about mechanics taking too long for diags and stuff. I think I mentioned that last week. But you go down here, the misfires. He saw me pick up the camera. Now he's getting noisy. Son of a gun. All my misfires. Now I've got a coil unplugged. It's not showing me any misfires, but it's setting a code for them. And this is, I tried 2 different scanners, same thing. Let's figure out which coil's bad. And now I unplugged the coil all the way in the back here, and it's telling me that's cylinder 7, which is interesting because I think I printed the firing order out. I thought it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But let me get that firing order picture and we'll see. Remembering that this is the one I unplugged. Alright, here's the firing order printout I've been going by. 2313 Hyundai Equus 5-liter V8. And I am willing to bet you a Dunkin' Donuts coffee that the firing order actually goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because I just unplugged this one and I got a code for cylinder 7. So I'm going to plug it back in. I'm going to remain patient. I'm going to go over to that bank and pull that coil out and see what it looks like. What I feel is an ignition misfire. And if I'm wrong, and that's not cylinder 2, I owe you a cup of coffee. You just got to come over to get it. But I am pretty confident anyway, so you don't have to make a trip. I know some people, it costs them $500 to get down here. You get a free cup of coffee, but let's pull that coil out right there and see what we see. That was easy. So now I got to make a short because it's setting a code for cylinder 5. because the diagram's wrong. But that's all right, we got to figure it out. Unplugging a coil, if you can get to an injector, that won't hurt it either. Unplugging it while it's running. Don't plug it back in while it's running though, just in case. But they usually have diodes and capacitors and stuff that it still won't hurt them, but there's a risk. I always shut it off before I plug something back in, a solenoid especially, so, or an injector which has produces a magnetic field to fire that. So this thing's got a burnt up coil. That was really easy to find. I could feel it misfiring, and then when I loaded it, it got worse. Injectors don't care about the load so much unless they can't flow enough fuel or they flow too much fuel, but they just misfire a little bit differently. So all this car needs is a coil, and everyone's going to be happy. I'm going to make a short about it in case somebody else gets one of these and uses Identifix and all data. They both have the wrong diagram. Well guys, we are buttoning it up for the day. Coil's coming for this thing. We'll probably get it tomorrow, first thing in the morning. We'll get this thing finished up and running good. Got a few things done today. A pretty productive day. Hope you enjoyed it. Torque the like button before you head out if you got something from this video. Torque the like button if you didn't get anything from the video and you thought it was terrible. I'd appreciate that. It would help me out either way. Hope I see you in the next video, because you're awesome.